Hey everybody, and welcome to the show. Around the nation right here, TYT Nation. Jeff Waldorf here with you in the temporary digs that I have going on, which admittedly there's not a whole lot graphically to look at, but hey, that's not what you're here for anyway. So let me turn that down just a minute. I'm a little bright. I can't help my bright and shiny head. So, oh, that makes it worse. What did I just do? Anyway, okay. That's fun. Lighting issues, of course, here because I don't have my proper stuff set up. So work with me, guys. Work with me. Anyway, so got a great show for you guys today on this Monday afternoon. Big news is Peter Strzok. I'm going to talk about him. Then we have a fun story about time zones. Then we have Republicans in Florida having a little infighting and literal fake diplomas. I'm not kidding. Sheriff Clark, it's also a super fun story with that. And then we have something serious about some changes to regulations, the CFPB, when it comes to lending and, of course, lending to specific people, veterans, soldiers, active duty soldiers, enlisted, and officers, things like that. So we'll talk about that. Okay. Anyway, so what we're going to do, we're going to go through those stories. But first, if you haven't already, please give us a like and a share, especially a share. I know we've been off for a little bit. Doing some things, taking care of a little issue here in the studio, which is why I don't have it set up. But I think we're just about done with that. So what we have here is the ability to come back and do a little bit of live streaming, which is what I've missed doing for quite some time. So we're back with that. Yay. Okay. Anyway, it's a low tech operation here that we're running, just to let you know. Okay. Oh shit. I told you, low tech. All right. Anyway, let's get to the first story here. And we will, yeah, let's get into it. Okay. Start out with the news of the day here. So it's being reported that the FBI has fired Agent Peter Strzok. Now, that's a name you probably have heard all around, especially if you follow conservative publications, Fox News, Twitter, etc. Now, Strzok helped lead the Bureau's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. Now, he was actually part of Mueller's team, but he had been found sending anti-Trump texts. Oh my God. How dare you send texts during the investigation? And actually, I do support his removal from the Mueller team. But nonetheless, his firing, I don't know about that. But anyway, so let's get into this, more into this article here. Eitan Goldman, Strzok's lawyer, said FBI Director David L. Bowditch had ordered the firing on Friday, even though the director of the FBI office that normally handles employee discipline has decided Strzok should face only a demotion and a 60-day suspension. Goldman said the move undercuts the FBI's repeated assurances that Strzok would be afforded the normal disciplinary process. So basically, he said in a statement, this isn't the normal process in any way more than name. This decision should be deeply troubling to all Americans. Well, look, to be fair, a lot of what's going on should be deeply troubling to all Americans. But that's okay. Let me give you some more context. Let me give you some details into what this is actually all about. Now, several months ago, a Justice Department Inspector General investigation had uncovered what they call politically charged messages that Strzok had exchanged with another FBI official That is Lisa Page, is a person whom he is having an affair with. Okay, all that fun stuff aside, whatever, right? That's really not the crux of the issue here. Now, these text messages, of course, were anti-Trump. They were also anti-Bernie Sanders, in which he called Sanders an idiot. So just to show you where he was in the political spectrum. Soon after that, though, conservatives only focused on his anti-Trump messages. Now, to be clear, again, he was anti-Trump. He was anti-Bernie Sanders. He didn't like really a lot of the other candidates. Maybe he was like tepid towards Hillary Clinton, but again, he was afraid that the FBI, what they were doing, and Bernie Sanders supporters actually would hurt the Hillary Clinton campaign. And look, a lot of people were concerned that President Trump, that candidate Trump, then candidate Trump, would become the president. And unfortunately, that happened. And even conservatives knew that there would be a bit of a disaster if that happened. And of course, here we have disaster. But one message really stood out in particular to a lot of pro-Trump conservatives. So when Ms. Page asked, Trump is not ever going to become president, right? Right? Mr. Strzok responds, no, he won't. We'll stop it. Oh my God. See, they look at that and go, we'll stop it. Deep state conspiracy. Here's the FBI, an FBI agent saying, we will stop him from becoming president. Well, Trump is president. Some conspiracy. I thought the deep state was supposed to stop Donald Trump. He didn't. But you say, oh, well, because that's Trump's smarter than the deep state. Oh my God, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That literally, like, if there is such a thing called deep state, that Donald Trump is just such a genius, a very stable genius, that he could outwit the deep state conspirators, is ridiculous. Just think about that for a minute. If that's what you believe, you might want to, I don't know, look into that a little bit more. But anyway, no, in reality, look, by we will stop it, he means the voters, which obviously he was also very wrong about, because voters, they were not thrilled with Hillary Clinton. This was Hillary Clinton's election to lose, and she lost it. She campaigned in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. She didn't try to get those voters. Instead, she focused on, suburban Republican voters, which never showed up for her. They weren't there. She ignored the base. We've been through this a million times. But anyway, here's the thing about the FBI. The FBI they're not full of liberals, okay? They're not full of progressives. These people are Republicans. These people are conservative, right? And there are a lot of officials inside the FBI that are also pro-Trump. So you have this narrative, right, about the Mueller team, which is FBI, right? That this is nothing more than a witch hunt by 13 angry Democrats, but none of them are Democrats. They're all Republicans. They're all very conservative, but there are some that actually do care about the law. There are some that actually do care about whether or not there is a sitting president that got help from a foreign country, and whether or not he knew that he was getting help and actively solicited the help of said foreign country. Okay, but anyway, with this firing, you have nothing short of a symbolic win for Donald Trump. And believe me, he knows it. In fact, Trump on Monday used Strzok's firing to suggest that the Russia investigation as a whole should be dropped. And not only that, but the Clinton case be redone. We need to look at her emails. We need to get back to her emails. She used, look, what Hillary Clinton did was not smart. Keeping classified emails, classified documents on a home server, that was really dumb. That was terrible for security. We've talked about that before, right? Criminal, no. I don't think at all that what she did was criminal. It was really dumb. But there's been a lot of people in the Trump administration that have also done the same thing. Use their home servers or use their personal email addresses when it comes to government work. All the stuff that Hillary did, there are people in other administrations that have also done. But nobody seemed to care about internet security until it came to this. Weird how that works. But anyway, now Trump tweeted this. Agent Peter Strzok was just fired from the FBI. Finally, the list of bad players in the FBI and DOJ gets longer and longer. Based on the fact that Strzok was in charge of the witch hunt, which he was not, will it be dropped? It is a total hoax. No collusion, no obstruction. I just fight back. Oh, wait a minute. If you're saying no obstruction and then following it by I just fight back, but that is obstruction if you're fighting back. I'm just saying, like, you have to let the investigation actually go forward, and if you're actively fighting against the investigation, then you are doing obstruction. Oh, he contradicts himself immediately, not in the same sentence. Anyway, he added, just fired Agent Strzok, formerly FBI, was in charge of the crooked Hillary Clinton sham investigation. It was a total fraud in the American public and should be properly redone. Look, here's the thing, right? Strzok was never in charge of the Mueller investigation, as I mentioned earlier. After they found that he had messages that were biased against Donald Trump, they took the right, and I think that it was the right action, to remove him from the investigation. Why? You don't want a tainted investigation. Okay? You want people that, investigators that are unbiased. You want them to do a good job. That's what you want them to do. Okay? And so I'm perfectly fine with them removing him from the Mueller case. In fact, I think that was the best thing to do. But nothing is never enough for Republicans. Nothing is ever enough for people like Donald Trump. And so here's the thing about this, right? The FBI had been investigating the allegation that the Trump campaign was colluding with Russia during the election. Okay, this was during the election, before Trump had won. The FBI had gotten some tips, and of course it started with Australian diplomat, for example, that had talked to George Papadopoulos, had a conversation with him, and in that, Papadopoulos is like, oh yeah, it looks like the Russians have the emails from Hillary Clinton. They've got dirt on Hillary Clinton. And, wait, you're part of Donald Trump's campaign, George. Are you saying that Donald Trump, first of all, like, you have information from the Russians, that Russia has emails from Hillary Clinton, and would you also be saying that Donald Trump doesn't know about it? Didn't actually want to know those emails? Isn't it a curious thing that after he publicly called for Russia to release the 30,000, or for somebody to release the 30,000 emails, or to find them, well, here comes Russia trying to go and hack into Hillary Clinton's servers. Isn't that weird? That's a strange coincidence, isn't it? They knew about this during the election. They didn't say anything. Why didn't they say anything? Well, they were really busy talking about Hillary Clinton's servers and the investigation into her, which, of course, James Comey came out just days before the election and was like, we are restarting an investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails, which they did not. That was literally not true, but Comey said it anyway. And look, whether or not you think that that was a big cause of her campaign not doing very well and her not winning the election, that is debatable. The point is that at some point it probably did harm her campaign, but to what extent, I'm not entirely sure, because I think that her campaign died a death of 1,000 cuts. And I've said that before, and that was just one of many cuts that killed her campaign. So the point is, right, Strzok's lawyer even said that if Strzok wanted to prevent Trump's election, which Trump is saying, then all he would have to do is leak that the campaign was under investigation. He did not, which means there's no conspiracy against Donald Trump. Nonetheless, Strzok was fired from the FBI. Look, and here's the thing about me, Strzok. I don't agree with his positions. If he is a centrist, he's part of the establishment, he's part of the FBI. There's a lot of things that I don't like, okay, about Strzok. But you have to look at it in terms of, okay, what makes sense, what's fair, right? Peter Strzok had an opinion, and he shared it. He was fired because of that. He was fired because he had an opinion, and they found out that he had an opinion. They should absolutely remove him from the case. That, again, I do not have any issue with. I think that's the right thing to do. But to completely remove him from his job for sharing an opinion, that seems ridiculous to me. Okay. So, and let me tell you why I think that he was removed. He was removed to appease Donald Trump. Now, here's the thing about that. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think that's going to be effective. Why? Because nothing short of ending the Mueller probe is going to be enough for the President of the United States, who is under investigation. Well, not personally, but his campaign has been under investigation. And he seems to hate this investigation so much and want nothing short of ending the investigation. And that's just enough to make you kind of question why. Anyway, so there's that. Now we move on to fun story. Okay. So in the course of the Trump presidency, we found out that many things that the president handles is actually very complicated. So he handles complicated measures. Things like healthcare, diplomacy, trade, and now apparently time zones. Wait, time zones? Huh. Now, sources close to sources close to Trump told Politico that the president, and these are White House aides, the president must be told not to call foreign leaders at odd hours. Because, you know, people, I guess, in other countries, in different time zones, actually like to sleep instead of be called by Trump. But one source told Politico, quote, when he wants to call somebody, he wants to call someone. He's more impulsive that way. He doesn't think about what time it is or who it is. We have a president who doesn't think. He doesn't think. Like, I'm impulsive. I want to go call Shinzo Abe, right? I want to call the guy in Japan, whatever his name is. I want to call him. You realize it's like 3 o'clock in the morning in Japan. Oh, is it? Oh, I knew that. Sometimes I like to stay up late, and I'm pretty sure he likes to stay up late and get things done. Child. There's more. Former National Security Council staffers and White House sources told Politico also that the president's foreign affairs knowledge is lacking. At one meeting, Trump allegedly mispronounced Nepal as nipple and Bhutan as button. 2 sources told Politico. When am I going to call the... I'm sorry. When am I going to call the leader of nipple? Oh, hey, what are we supposed to do about the button situation? Oh my God. He's such a dumbass. Now, of course, the White House comes out with Sarah Huckabee Sanders. No, not Sarah Huckabee Sanders, sorry. But there was a White House official who denied the report, who's unnamed, said, well, I don't remember the president saying that. Yeah, well, to be fair, with all the other crazy things that he says, it's easy to forget a lot of the dumb things he says because he is like a literal fountain of stupid. It just comes out. But anyway, one former National Security Council official told Politico that the president actually avoids saying certain words and names for fear he will mispronounce them when speaking to other world leaders. And you know what? I actually get that. That's like the fairest point that I've ever seen. in this, okay? Because, look, I mispronounce things all the time. I'm terrible with words. Turns out words are hard. Who knew names would be so complicated, right? So, look, I'm not going to fault him if that's actually what he does. And that would actually make sense. Like, if that's true, well, then totally that makes sense, being completely fair, right? Now, time zones, that's a little bit more different, right? Because you should likely have an idea about time zones if you're the president of the United States, okay? Now, check out the defense here from the White House, and this is fun. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders told Politico that, quote, foreign leaders appreciate that the president is willing to take their calls day and night. The president has made clear that when leaders reach out for calls, aides should set them up right away. He has had foreign leaders calls very late at night and never wants another leader to wait before their calls returns. So you see, he's so considerate to these foreign leaders and always wants to call them on the phone. See, here's the thing. That's not actually the issue. The issue was Trump not understanding the idea of time zones. And him wanting to call a foreign leader when he's likely not awake. That's not returning the call. That's actually waking up the president of, Button or Nipple or Nepal. Sorry, pulled a Trump there at 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning and being like, "Hey, what's up? I'm returning your call." No, I'm pretty sure that didn't actually happen. I mean, look, as a normal person, do you need to know the time zone in Bhutan? No. No, of course not. But Donald Trump's not a normal person. As president, we kind of have to hold you to a higher standard. But of course, with Donald Trump, we've learned that you kind of have to aim low. Real low. Now, of course, what we say is aiming low. They will come back and say, "Oh, no, you're expecting way too much of the president." I love this. Former advisor to Trump's State Department transition team told Politico, quote, "If people are looking for more polish and more kind of conventional statecraft, and that's their metric for Trump learning, I think they're going to be disappointed." Oh, believe me, we are disappointed for many other things. But no, here's the thing. Polish, no. Knowing things, actually knowing things that are common sense, like time zones, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't call somebody so late at night halfway across the world. That's not too much to ask for. But no, they're going to double down on this. And he says, quote, "I don't think he sees those as faux pas. I think he sees them as, look, I do things differently. If you say, that's not how things are done," he says, "Who says? Where's it written down that I can't do that?" Oh my God. He thinks he's a renegade. He thinks he's like, "Oh, I'm upending the system." No, you're not. You're a buffoon. Look, the problem is that it's not that he's a renegade, that he's doing things his own way, that he's shaking up the system, right? No, he's an idiot, and everybody knows it. He's not a smart person. He's not a very stable genius. He's not at all intellectually curious. He's dumb. And the thing is, he prefers to be dumb and to stay dumb. It is ignorance by choice. And of course, people point that out. Like, hey, no, actually, maybe you should do it some other way or this way. He's like, no. I'm smart. I'm the smartest person here. I'm playing 3D chess. So smart. I got brain. Look, man, walking to the White House right now would be like being in the Sixth Sense, but with one difference. Instead of seeing dead people, we see dumb people in office. People that are so stupid that they don't know how stupid they really are. Unfortunately, that is what we have in the Trump administration. God help us all. Sad. Okay. Let us continue. But first, before I do that, everybody here, please give us a like and share if you haven't already. Also, consider using the super chat. That helps the show. Last month was not the greatest month, so if you could help us out, that would be great. Okay. Moving on. Let's get to the next story here. Let's talk about fakes. Okay. A GOP candidate running in Florida has been found to have lied about her education. Oh, that's fun. Now, according to a new report from FLA News Online, it's a Florida publication, quoting school officials for Miami University, which there is a Miami University located in Ohio, which is strange because this is a Florida story, a Florida candidate who had allegedly went to a a school called Miami, but it was actually in Ohio. This is strange, right? But anyway, Melissa Howard, who is a candidate running for Florida's 73rd district, apparently did not actually attend that university and did not get a diploma. Now, why does that actually matter? Well, Howard, who wants a Sarasota area state house seat, claimed that she had earned a Bachelor of Science in Marketing from the Ohio school. Fascinating. So now, this is actually an update to this story, and it's crazy how I didn't see this before, but Florida political news website, FLA News Online, had reported that Howard did not earn this degree. Now, what's interesting is that they had briefly retracted that story. Why did they do that? First, they reported, okay, this person's lying about the degree. They didn't actually get a degree from this college. They retracted the story, which then, of course, you could be like, oh, see, looks like fake news, reporting on Republicans, you know, and saying and making up lies and all that. So don't believe them. But actually, the reason that they retracted the story briefly is because the candidate actually sent a picture of her with the diploma. No, see, here's my diploma. It's right here. Look, you can look at the signatures. I went to that school. I got that degree. So anybody who's lying to you and saying that I'm not is just doing fake news. Oh. However, after further investigation and confirmation with the university itself, FLA News reported Saturday that the diploma was indeed a fake. It's a fake. I need to get that clip and put that in there. It's a fake. In fact, Sarasota's Herald Tribune confirmed with the university that Howard did not actually graduate. Oops. More information. Miami University General Counsel Robin Parker told the outlets that while Howard did attend the university, she actually did go there, there was no record of her earning a degree in 1994 or 1996 that she had previously claimed. The school also reportedly said that they do not offer a Bachelor's of Science in Marketing, and that Howard would have earned a Bachelor of Science in Family and Consumer Sciences if she had graduated with her retailing major. And finally, but the diploma in the picture that reportedly also reportedly displays signatures of university officials who would not have signed a diploma for a student graduating with a bachelor's degree in that year. So, wow. One more piece of information here before we get to analysis. National Student Clearinghouse, nonprofit group that works with Miami University and originally stated Howard did not earn her degree, sent FLA News a certificate from the university stating that Howard did not earn a degree. So, you have all these sources that are saying, no, she didn't earn a degree. And you also have evidence that she had forged a diploma, faked it, signed other people's signatures on it, and then took a picture and sent it into a news publication. And you think you're not going to get caught? How dumb are these people? Jesus, man. Look. Here's the thing, if you don't have a degree, if you don't go to college, that's fine. Perfectly fine. Okay, in fact, some of you actually might end up being better off not having taken out gigantic student loans. So why fake it though? Why even make up a lie that makes no sense? It was because they can't help themselves. Man, they learned, I think, from our president that we live in a post-truth society. Look, go ahead and make things up about climate change, of how it's actually good for the earth. It's going to green the planet. About how the wealth is going to trickle down if we give more tax cuts to the rich. And, you know, let's talk about how fake the media is for actually coming up with facts or reporting on facts and not coming up with their own facts as that real fake news media, which is Fox News and conservative media, actually do. Do that, and you're not going to get pushback. In fact, you're going to feed into that confirmation bias. That's what she's attempting to do right now. Now, Howard has not commented on the report to FLA News. She actually called the original allegations lies pushed by her Republican primary opponent, Tom Gregory. Here's what happened. She got caught in a lie. This is what happens when you get caught in a lie. And instead of admitting it and dropping it, you double down. So she's caught in a hugely obvious lie. Now, I wonder how well she's going to do in this primary. Well, if she's a pro-Trump supporter, and I don't know if she is or not, because I haven't looked at her policies, odds are it is possible. It is Florida. She might win. And if she does, it would really prove that we are living in post-truth America. Sad. Okay. Got a couple more stories left and quite a bit of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll read some super chats from you guys. And we'll finish out the rest of the show. And there we go. So we'll take a break. Be right back. Oh, okay. Thank you guys. No audio. I was talking to the abyss. Welcome back to the show. I'm going to read a super chat here from Peter S. He says, when you're dead, you don't know you're dead. It's only hard for other people. It's the same when you're stupid. Well done on that. I like that. Great comment. Then I also asked earlier what you're excited about. And of course, Anders, I think I agree with him. Anders Robin Hansen says, Battle for Azeroth, of course. Starts in 2.5 hours. Agreed. Agreed. It's weird as I've been playing some Diablo lately. Diablo 3. And that's been fun. And then, yes, some of you might hate me, but I've actually been playing a lot of Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well over the weekend. Because it was double XP weekend. So, why not? And then, of course, there are other... thank you, I appreciate that. Some people saying that they're happy to see me back. I appreciate that. That's cool. So, thank you. It's good to be back. Hopefully we'll have everything set up. It just depends on when. So it will be back though. Okay. Bullwhip says midterms and special elections. Hopefully you're excited about that. And the fact that only 24 Nazis showed up yesterday for the big rally. Also excited. Yes, that's great. Try3. No, I do not have a Twitch. Actually, I think I do. I just have to set it up. Like, I actually do have a Twitch. You know what? I will look that up and see what mine is, because I've like used it to watch like streams from John Irola. Was a friend of mine. I like to consider him a good friend. So, no, we don't really know each other all that well. Nonetheless, he's a good guy. So, yeah, I've watched a few of his streams, so I'll have to get that information out, maybe put it on my Twitter profile. But anyway, I got another super chat here from Mark, who asked a good question, and actually, it's the final segment of the day. What do I think about Who's America? I'm having a lot of fun with that. So we've got one on Sheriff Joe about that. Or I'm sorry, that's Sheriff Clark, not Sheriff Joe. We did a segment in the past week with Arpaio. Now we have Sheriff Clark. So that's a fun segment. That's the end of the show. That's the final segment here. So you'll love that. But okay. All right. So, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, Peter, you're talking about Jordan French. So I let Jordan run a couple of live streams and cover some stories. He did a great job. So I will let him know about that. And I appreciate him taking over and doing some streams for me. So, okay. Let's move on and get some stories. Very serious stuff, too. All right. So the Trump administration, in its zeal for deregulation and helping payday lenders, is now going after a law designed to protect military service members from being cheated by shady lending practices. Now, NPR is reporting that they have obtained documents that show the White House is proposing changes that would limit protections to service members and change rules surrounding something called the Military Lending Act. Now, they explain. The MLA is supposed to protect service members from predatory loans and financial products. Mick Mulvaney, the interim director for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, basically plans to terminate the supervisory examinations of lenders. So from there, we go to the New York Times, who explains the agency's supervisory exams, which have been critical in uncovering previous instances of wrongdoing and led to several of its biggest fines, that would be eliminated. In 2014, to show how much this actually matters, in 2014, the Bureau fined one of the largest payday lenders in the country, Ace Cash Express, $10 million after determining that the company, based in Texas, steered low-income borrowers, including those in the military, into a succession of financially damaging high-interest loans. Huh. So, now, of course, again, that's predatory lending. We've seen a lot of that. And the administration has too. The only problem is that they're not doing anything about it. Now, instead of conducting examinations that might find similar patterns, they say, the New York Times reports, the Bureau will now rely solely on complaints funneled through its website, hotlines, the military, and people who believe that they have been victims of abuse. So they're not being proactive, they are being reactive. So you have to go through, you have to file a bunch of paperwork. Well, how do you know you're getting screwed over? Unless there's an investigation. How do you know, you're getting a bad deal from some of these lenders or a super high interest rate? Unless there's an investigation into it, unless you know that there's an even playing field. And a lot of these, I should say all of these, predatory lenders play off people who, it's not that they're not smart, it's just they're not well read, and that these financial products, as they call them, are actually incredibly complicated. And they're complicated on purpose in order to trap people into these kinds of loans, right? So now they talk about predatory financial products, right? Payday lenders are obviously one of them, but there's also other ways that they scam people that are also pretty nefarious and very hard to track down, just to show you why these examinations are actually very necessary. Now, one example of that is something called gap insurance. Now, NPR explains, back to them, cars lose some of their value the moment that they're driven off the lot. Now, I know that. I just bought myself a new used car. So I know that when you buy a new car, and everybody kind of knows the adage, like, yeah, it loses half its value as soon as you drive it off the lot. Right, okay. Now, dealers apparently have been telling customers, some of them anyway, that if their car gets wrecked in a car crash, they could be financially harmed because regular insurance may not pay out the entire amount owed on the loan. Now, this apparently is something that some car dealerships push really hard to get this gap insurance. I mean, we don't want anything to happen to your investment. And to be fair, where I got my car, they didn't mention anything about this because where I actually got my car, and I'm not going to name drop or anything like that, but they were actually really good people and explained things very well. So, and didn't try to push this kind of gap insurance on me. But if you're low income, or if you're, somebody from a difficult neighborhood, or even, like I said, they target service members, well, some of these salesmen might try to push this gap insurance. Now, that kind of insurance is offered by insurance companies and actually is relatively inexpensive. In fact, $20 to $30 a year. And you can get it from, your local car insurance company that you already do business with, right? So then if it's cheap, then what's the actual issue of the dealership pushing this insurance? Well, it turns out that the dealerships oftentimes mark up the price. A law professor at the University of Utah who reviewed these documents is, named Christopher Peterson, and he told NPR that he has seen gap insurance policies being sold for $1,500 over the course of the loan. Now, that's a huge markup, and what that does is that a lot of that goes into the dealer's pocket. That's disastrous. That's the rules. That's why we put up rules, right? Now, the rules to protect service members effectively block auto dealers from doing that, from tacking on an extra product, such as overpriced gap insurance and rolling into the car loans. That's what these rules do. They're eliminating these rules. The industry has been lobbying very furiously to roll those rules back, and guess what? The White House appears to be giving them exactly what they want. Is that any surprise? The administration had just sent the latest version of a proposal to the Defense Department, and documents show that it would give car dealers exactly what they're looking for, exactly what they lobbied for. No, The government favoring corporations over people? But corporations are a special kind of people who are apparently better than everyone else and deserve special breaks. Now, Peterson says the revised rules could also allow dealers to roll in not just gap insurance, but all kinds of other add-on products into the loans. And if you're not aware at how predatory these can be, well then that ends up costing you money out of your pocket. Now, not only that, but the changes would also weaken the enforcement of the Military Lending Act. And under Mulvaney, who's acting director of the CFPB, the Bureau is planning to halt regular monitoring of payday lenders and other firms to see whether they are violating the act and cheating military personnel. So, basically, it kind of boils down to this. When given the choice to support the troops or support their donors, who do they choose? They choose the donors. Mick Mulvaney has taken tons of money from payday lenders, from these financial services, from the financial services industry. And of course, in return, he has helped payday lenders by eliminating regulations and eliminating oversight to make sure that they can continue to do these predatory loans. Look, what happened here is basically they've taken the cops off the street. There's nobody guarding the hen house anymore. You have the foxes in charge now. The Republicans who support this, people like Mick Mulvaney, they can't say that they support the troops. You're not supporting the troops when you remove rules meant to protect them from predatory lenders. But that was the whole point. The whole point of these rules. And look, let me go to a section from the New York Times story on this. Over the last decade, to show you how important these rules actually were, the Defense Department had did studies that have found that military and their members, their families and veterans are 4 times as likely to be targeted by unscrupulous lenders. That's the reason they have these rules. They also found, the studies, interestingly enough, that money woes are a significant source of morale problems among service members. So you get into these predatory loans. And look, a lot of the people that go into the military are 18, 19 years old, right? They're young people. They haven't had credit before. And it's so easy to entrap them in these loans. And so creating these money problems, it's basically the return of loan sharking. Only this time, it's legal. Some of these payday lenders charge over 300% interest on their short-term loans. And they're doing it now to the military members as well. Now look, here's the thing. We have military members right now who are on food stamps, who are on government assistance while they're serving, while they're active duty. But wait, we give over $700 billion to the military. Where's that money go? Where's that money going? Oh, well, it's not going to the troops. I think an average, E1 makes $19,000 a year. That's terrible. So where does that money go? Where does all that money go? Into the pockets of the defense contractors. Our military is right now a wasteful bureaucracy. And what? And Trump wants to talk about Space Force? You don't want to talk about Space Force? No. Look, if that's not bad enough now, here you have the administration now wanting payday lenders to be able to prey on those same service members who are not getting paid what they deserve. That's what you have with the Republican administrations. If they cannot claim to support the troops, to support the military, if they approve of stuff like this. No. Okay. Disaster. But we'll pick it up with a fun story. Last story of the day. I think you'll enjoy this. We go to Sheriff Clark. Okay. Sacha Baron Cohen has punked yet another conservative. This time, former Milwaukee Sheriff... I'm sorry. Let me try that again. Sacha Baron Cohen has punked yet another conservative. This time, former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark Jr. Now, David Clark Jr. Decided to go on and talk to Oh My God, Whiz Boy, Oh My God, which of course is Sacha Baron Cohen in costume. And during that discussion, they talked about fascists versus anti-fascists, also known as Antifa. Let's take a look.
We're now going to talk about issues while we are doing the unboxing. So let's talk about the dangerous people who marched in Charlottesville, or as they're called, Antifa. What are they like?
Antifa is an anarchist group. All right, they promote chaos. So they come in, again, this is not protest. When you start trashing buildings, breaking into...
It's Mackenzie Maple Donut. Dab, dab, just hands. Tell me about Antifa. Should I join them? Can I join
Mackenzie
Antifa?
Maple Donut do not join Antifa. They support killing of police officers. They support disorder.
Yes, Maple Donut. Do not join Antifa. Don't do it, Maple Donut. I swear to God, don't do it. They kill police officers. Really? How many police officers have Antifa killed? How many? I'm just waiting. Now, I do know of a right-wing group called the Sovereign Citizens that kill police officers. Do we talk about them? Oh no, of course not, because they're right-wing. They're right-wing. And they have this thing called right-wing privilege, in which it doesn't matter how many crimes are committed by people in the far right wing. I'm not talking like regular Republicans, which should be outraged as well, right? I'm talking about the fringe far right, these sovereign citizens, right, who don't believe the entire laws of the United States should apply to them, right? So they're just living here, and they're like, no, laws, they don't apply to me at all. No, I'm going to go kill police officers. Really? So, no, we're going to talk about Antifa because they want to kill police officers. They support killing police officers, even though they haven't killed anyone. Okay. Well, that's fun. Now, here's the other thing. Antifa isn't an actual group. Antifa basically just stands for anybody who's anti-fascist. If you're an anti-fascist, you could say you're a member of Antifa, right? There's no centralization. There's no hierarchy. This isn't some big group. It's anybody who's not a fascist. So by definition, we are all kind of Antifa. Well, there are some people in that group who have done violence. Okay, that sucks. I don't agree with them. I don't agree with them. I disagree with physical violence. I'm a pacifist. That said, Sheriff David Clark is not a pacifist. Take a look.
So if you were the sheriff in the 30s in Germany and the anti-fascists were marching, the Antifa were marching, what would you have done to stop them?
Well, you have to act aggressively. When I say that, you have to use force to disperse the crowd. You have to be willing to arrest people, take them to jail.
Exactly. It's a shame that there weren't brave sheriffs like you around in Germany in the 30s, because you could have protected the fascists and let them speak their mind a bit clearer, and then things could have been done a bit quicker.
Well, you don't want to take sides when you say you protect the fascists.
You don't want
You don't want to take sides.
Of course, particularly not in Germany in the 30s.
Wow. Okay. So there's a lot there. So the context is important here. Cohen asked him, if you saw Antifa marching, what would you do? Right? So if they're just marching, not doing violence, not smashing windows, didn't say anything about that. Because we're all against that. Okay? And I'm not saying that it's Antifa that actually does that. Look, if anybody's breaking windows, then yes, you arrest them. But here, Cohen And here's the brilliance of this, right? What Cohen does is he traps them into saying what they actually believe. If it were 1930s Germany and anti-fascists were marching in the streets, not doing violence, right? Sheriff Clark basically admitted, yeah, I'd arrest him to make way for the actual fascists. Because both sides are equal. I mean, you want to make sure, you know, that you don't take sides in this. Especially, and I love how Cohen threw in at the end. Well, yeah, you don't want to take sides, especially in 1930s Germany. Look, man, this is the American right wing, right? This is how crazy, this is how nuts they've become. And again, there's so much in there in which Cohen basically uses as like, he's like virtue signaling for the right wing. Like, oh yeah, the Antifa, what would you do to Antifa? Who are the problem? Who are protesting? He sets them up. And it's fantastic. Now, you might be wondering, how can these guys be so dumb as to fall into this trap over and over again? I mean, again, you had Joe Arpaio, which we covered on the show. That was fun. Joe Walsh, was like, yeah, let's arm 3-year-olds with grenades. And now David Clark Jr., right? But see, you got to understand, it's not a trap to them. It's what they actually believe. They talked to this guy, this weird guy who they thought, well, okay, kind of one of us, even though you're really strange and you're dabbing. They think, finally, I can say what I actually believe. It's crazy. And it's brilliant. Okay. That's it, guys. That's all I've got for you today in the show. Thank you. Make sure to like and share if you haven't already. Thank you for the super chats. I appreciate that. That helps keep the show going. So I appreciate that a lot. Make sure to spread the message. Patreon.com/TYTNation. Okay. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the show. I enjoyed being back. We'll be back tomorrow. Another show. And of course, that should be fun. Send us your stories. Twitter account @TYTNation or at Jeff's Politics. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, TYTNation, all that stuff. So now I'm going to edit these videos and wait for the WoW expansion. So if you'll excuse me, I'm out of here. Thank you, guys. Love you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, TYTNation. See you tomorrow.